What is dyslexia? Dyslexia is a learning disorder that makes it hard for you to read, spell, and write. Dyslexia isn't about how smart someone is. It isn't related to problems with hearing or vision either. It means their brains have trouble connecting letters they see to the sounds those letters make. Dyslexia is a learning disability that affects reading. Brain scans taken while people read show differences in brain activity between a dyslexic and a typical brain. About 5% to 15% Americans have some symptoms of dyslexia, like slow reading, trouble spelling, or mixing up words. Adults can have this learning disorder, but most people are diagnosed early in life. Others don't realize they have dyslexia until they get older. Is dyslexia a disability? Dyslexia is considered a reading or learning disability. It happens because of differences in parts of your brain that process words and language. Types of dyslexia. Dyslexia can affect people differently. You can have different degrees of dyslexia. Most of the time, dyslexia is something you're born with. In other cases, you may have dyslexia due to something that happens during development or from a brain injury or illness. These three types of dyslexia may be called primary, secondary, or acquired. Dyslexia also can come with different problems or challenges with different reading-related tasks. For example, phonological dyslexia means that you have trouble sounding out or decoding words. Surface dyslexia comes with more challenges mastering sight words. Deep dyslexia means that you don't see words properly as a result of underlying brain damage. But you can have different combinations of these at the same time. What causes dyslexia? We don't know the exact cause of dyslexia, but there are a few ideas on why and how it happens. Dyslexia and genetics. Dyslexia is linked to your genes, which is why it often runs in families. You're 30% to 50% more likely to have dyslexia if one of your parents has it. Change in brain development or function. Dyslexia can also happen because there were differences in parts of how your brain formed or how it works. Imaging scans in people with dyslexia show that areas of the brain that should be active when a person reads don't work as expected. Dyslexia symptoms. You might not notice your child has signs of dyslexia until they start school. Their teacher may be the first to see the signs in preschool. Dyslexia symptoms in preschoolers. Hard to learn or remember the letters of the alphabet. Gets their letters and words mixed up. Falls behind their peers in language skills. Mispronounces familiar words. Has trouble with letters. Can't recognize rhyming patterns, like, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Dyslexia symptoms in elementary school. Reads slower than kids their age. Can't tell the difference between certain letters or words. Can't connect letters with the sounds they make. Writes letters or numbers backward, such as B instead of D. Has trouble sounding out words when they read. Writes slowly. Misspell easy words like dog. Says words look blurry or jump around on the page. Struggles to follow instructions. Dyslexia symptoms after elementary school. Withdraws socially because it's hard to communicate with peers. Make errors in spelling, grammar, and punctuation. Takes a long time to finish their homework or complete tests. Messy handwriting. Speaks slowly. Avoids reading aloud. Uses the wrong words, like furnish, instead of finish, or lotion, for ocean. If your child has these symptoms, talk to their teacher to find out what's happening in the classroom. Then, call your child's doctor to see if they have another health problem like hearing loss or vision loss. If dyslexia is the cause, your doctor can refer you to a specialist for more tests and treatment. The earlier your child is diagnosed, the sooner they can start treatment. Dyslexia symptoms in adults. If you're not diagnosed with dyslexia as a child, you can still learn later in life that you have it. Adults who have dyslexia may find that they have a hard time reading or doing things that involve reading, spelling, memorizing, or remembering words, taking notes or copying things down, understanding common sayings or jokes like put a different meaning to a set of words like in the home stretch, doing math, learning another language, or remembering numbers such as passwords or pins, staying organized and meeting deadlines. If you think you have dyslexia, reach out to your doctor for a referral to a specialist. Dyslexia diagnosis. There is no blood or neurological test to diagnose dyslexia. Instead, a diagnosis comes after testing and assessment by a medical professional. They look for certain signs to determine if your child has dyslexia. Tests for dyslexia. To match your child with the right dyslexia program, a doctor or an educational specialist will do tests to see how well they read and write. Some of the things a test for dyslexia might include are reading and sounding out unfamiliar words, verbal language skills, reading comprehension, spelling, vocabulary, word recognition. Your pediatrician will rule out ADHD, depression, or anxiety that may affect learning. An educational psychologist will dig deeper into learning disabilities. Once you have a firm diagnosis, you can work with your child's doctor, teacher, and educational specialists to create a learning plan. Dyslexia treatment. There are no medications to treat dyslexia, but there are different tools your child can use to be an effective reader. Reading programs. Kids with dyslexia have trouble matching letters with the sounds they make and matching words with their meanings. They need extra help learning to read and write. Your child can work with a reading specialist to learn how to sound out letters and words. Read faster. Understand more of what they read. Write more clearly. Other reading programs geared toward kids with dyslexia include Orton-Gillingham is a step-by-step technique that teaches kids how to match letters with sounds and recognize letter sounds in words. Multisensory instruction teaches kids how to use all of their senses to learn new skills. For example, your child might run their finger over letters made out of sandpaper to learn how to spell. Extra help. The law requires schools to set up special learning plans, called individualized education plans, for your child with dyslexia. An IEP describes your child's needs and how the school will help meet them. You and the school will update the plan each year based on your child's progress. Extra help for your child can also include special education. A learning specialist or reading specialist can do one-on-one or group sessions, either in the classroom or in a separate room in the school. Accommodations. An IEP outlines special services your child needs to make school easier. These might include audiobooks, extra time to finish tests, or text-to-speech, a technology that reads words out loud from a computer or book. Reading at home. School isn't the only place where your child can learn. You can also help foster reading and writing skills at home. Read with your child whenever you can. Help them sound out words they have trouble with. Dyslexia learning strategies. These tips can help both kids and adults with dyslexia. Read in a quiet place with no distractions. Listen to books on CD or computer and read along with the recording. Break up reading and other tasks into small pieces that are more manageable. Ask for extra help from your teacher or manager when you need it. Join a support group for kids or adults with dyslexia. How to help a child with dyslexia. When you find out your child has dyslexia, you naturally want to do everything you can to help them. One of the best ways to get started is to support your child's reading. Read with them. Listen to audiobooks and have your child read along. Make sure they spend time reading alone, both quietly and aloud. Reread their favorite books. Take turns reading books aloud together. Talk about the stories you read together and ask questions like, "What do you think happens next?" Make learning playful. It always helps when learning doesn't feel like work. Make up songs, poems, and even dances to help remember things. Play word games. If your child is younger, use nursery rhymes and play silly rhyming games. Help with schoolwork. Use technology like tablets, smartphones, and computers. Add online dictionaries, spell check, and text-to-speech software as your child gets older as long as they're approved for use. Help keep their schoolwork organized. Break big tasks into smaller chunks. Support them emotionally. As with many parenting challenges, it's helpful to be firm, patient, and positive. Celebrate successes. Take a day at the end of a project or after a big test to have fun together. Don't expect perfection. A lot of times, close enough is a huge success. Help your child understand what dyslexia is. They should know that it's not their fault and you'll work through it together. Let your kid do activities they're good at and enjoy. This can balance the struggles with schoolwork. Praise your child's strength and skills. Don't let learning struggles be the main focus. How to manage dyslexia as an adult. Dyslexia can continue to affect you into adulthood in work and other aspects of life. It may help to have an evaluation and get help no matter how old you are. Talk to human resources or look into reasonable accommodations from your employer under the Americans with Disabilities Act. With the right kind of support and assistance, you can be very successful in work, school, and life with dyslexia. Takeaways. Dyslexia is a learning disability that makes reading more challenging. While there's no way to treat the underlying brain differences, early detection and intervention is key. With supports, you can help your child with dyslexia read and succeed in school. Dyslexia FAQs. Can a person overcome dyslexia? There's no cure for dyslexia, but people who get help early in life often can read well enough to do well in school. Kids who don't get help early on may have a harder time overcoming dyslexia. How does dyslexia affect a person? Dyslexia makes reading harder. As a result, you'll have a hard time learning in the way other people do. If you don't get help for dyslexia, it can lead to problems with your behavior, self-esteem, anxiety, and social life. Without help for dyslexia, kids can grow into adults who continue to face challenges in their career and personal life. Is dyslexia a mental illness? No. Dyslexia is a learning disability related to difference in parts of the brain involved in reading. It isn't considered a mental illness.